Let's call this meeting to order. Stand for the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Welcome everybody here tonight. Will you please have the roll call?
Chair Garza,
Here.
Vice Chair Ruwal,
Yes.
Member Garcia,
Here.
Member Morrow,
Here.
and Member Rita's absent.
All right. Going to the public comment period. Public comment matters under the jurisdiction of the MAC are not on the posted agenda and may be addressed by the general public at the beginning of the regular agenda. And any off-agenda matters before the MAC for consideration. However, California law prohibits the MAC from taking action on any matter which is not on the posted agenda unless it is determined to be an emergency by the MAC. And any member of the public wishing to address the MAC during the public comment period shall be, permitted to be heard once for up to 5 minutes unless the chair of the MAC sets a different time limit. And any member of the audience desiring to address the MAC on a matter on the agenda, please raise your hand at the time the item is announced by the MAC chair. In order that interested parties have an opportunity to speak, any person addressing the MAC will be limited to a maximum of 5 minutes unless the chair of the MAC sets a different time limit. Okay, so with that, we move on to approval of minutes for the special meeting of November 14th, 2024. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm really moving forward on this. Yes, anybody, public comment? Anybody wanting to address the MAC board? Please come up and have your say.
My turn?
Yes.
Okay, good evening, everybody. My name is Roy Winters. I live in this town all my life. And I've been putting out these flyers around town. Has anybody here because they've seen them? Anybody? Gosh,
Not lately.
not lately?
Not lately.
Well, I have one little problem with that. I've been putting around the new park, our swamp, and somebody's been taking them down. So I'm kind of like, got a problem with that. So I hope I don't see who does that. Anyway, I'm glad to see everybody here and all the departments to come to help us with the things we're wanting to have done here for Keys. And the board members too for being here and helping us. Okay. If anybody needs any of these flyers, I'll take and help us out getting some people here. I've got some. I'll give them to you, just ask for me later. We have these meetings every 3 months in case anybody here doesn't know that. And that flyer I've got here has got the list for the whole year on it, and, every 3 months. So my main thing is, as always, is trying to get more police coverage in Keys, sheriff, and CHP. And so in the past, I've always been asking for 24-hour sheriff, which ain't never gonna happen because we're a town, not a city. We don't have a substation. Although 20 years ago, we did have a substation, but they sit down there and they're not around town getting seen. So I guess the tax bill, they eliminated that. And we don't have as much sheriff in town like we did 50 years ago, when there weren't that much taxes coming out of this town. So anyway, bottom line there, I'm trying to get them to get a sheriff in here, a car. With the car has a phone, not the sheriff himself. We can call the car instead of going through the substation. Now that's another deal altogether because there's state legal laws about that. You got to call in, and the substation's got to go around. By the time that all gets down and we get help in the town, it ain't going to be 10 minutes. It'll probably be 20, 30 or an hour. Well, whoever's doing the bad thing's gone. So I went over that. By the way, I'll mention that we do have a county supervisor for our district here at Keys. It's Chance Condit. I've been trying to get a hold of them for 2 years to get here. Once in a while they have to send a representative, but that's not adequate because they don't get the right message back to get the help from what we're asking for. So I went down to the county the other day and give a flyer to Chance's office. Of course, he wasn't there. They're always in meetings. And so later that day, he called me. Surprised. And he wanted to meet with me. I said, sure. So I did have a meeting with him. We had a good time. And I brought up everything that I'm going to mention here tonight. And he's going to be trying to help us with it. And I'll get into that too. So that got done. And so he's a nice young man. He's not retiring today. He's going to be staying in the county government for years to come. So when I'm not here and we're not here, hopefully he'll be still trying to help no matter what department he gets on into. So anyway, at least a couple of 8-hour shifts of sheriff is what I'd like to get done now. So he has to go to the sheriff itself and get that all set up and try to get that done. So that's what we're working on for that. CHP, same thing. And now that this 25, the CHP has already told me that they're going to concentrate more on keys because of what we've been asking for: speeding, running stop signs, just anything else that's a crime for vehicles and all that kind of stuff. That goes to the CHP. And so I've got a bad corner down where I live, Ninth and Lizzie. The CHP has been stopping there a few times, and I said, yes, you see them running it, and they've been giving them tickets. And that's what we want, because once you give these people a ticket and they have to pay a big fine, that'll get around town. And that's what we want. Once it gets around town to the rest of the people here that are doing that, they will probably slow down, we hope. And so that's where we're going on the CHP. They're going to try to help and get going here on that stuff. Then we go to Public Works. I don't know, he's not even here tonight, is he? Oh, you're him? Okay, I'm sorry. And Public Works has been working with us. Thanks for the road stuff. We didn't ask for all that, but we understand that that's got to get done. And all that work you did. And thanks for doing Newness Road again. We know that's going to get tore up again, and so we all know all about that. But thanks for what you are doing for us. And one of the things that is, I don't know if it's Public Works, but it comes from the county. Years ago, people always took care of their alleys. We got a few alleys in town. The new section of town, they don't have alleys anymore. When they build new subdivisions, everything's in the street. There's no alleys. But this old town, we got some alleys. And so all the utilities are in the alleys. You got sewer, water, electric, telephone, and you have trucks that need to get in there anytime, 24/7. Not to mention the fire department. That's the main thing. And a lot of these alleys are trashed up, weeded up, and people living in them in cars and stuff like that, and it's not feasible for, especially the fire department, when they need to get there at 3 in the morning to put out a fire in your backyard. That needs to be open. Like I said, years ago, everybody that had property took care of their alley, and it wasn't really a problem back then. I don't remember that. But nowadays, if you look down these alleys, you can't see down through them. So I had that conversation with Chase, our supervisor, and so what he told me to do was, take my phone and take pictures of these alleys that are plugged up and things. Send it to him right now, and he'll get a hold of the people that are supposed to come out and take care of that. But here's what happened. A few years ago, they said, oh, the county took the alleys over to clean up. I said, oh, really? Well, no wonder they're so bad. And so that's going to get addressed now and see what. And if you live here in town, if you help me out with that, all you got to do is take a picture of that alley that's plugged up and stuff and send it to Chance, and I'll give you that number if somebody wants to do it. That'll help. And so they'll come out pretty much immediately because that's a fire hazard, and the utilities and everybody can't get down through there. And after that, it looks bad anyway. All right. A lot of the reasons we want sheriffs here, and of course the speeding, that's the CHP, but the sheriff for any crimes that's going on, and loud music, bombs and guns and all that kind of stuff. If you're living here, you know what I'm talking about. And so we need to curb that. I mean, years ago, let's plug it into that. Give me a chance here, I'm reading my notes. Okay, one of the things, see, the county has got rules, because we're a town, we're not in a city, so we don't get these things taken care of. But there is laws that takes care of these things supposedly, but they don't get done if nobody calls them and tells them to come and do this, like we're trying to do now. And one of the things is these trucks in town. Trucks are allowed on this road here, 7th Street, all the way through, that's fine. But we have, matter of fact, we probably got a diesel sitting right over there across the street. Been sitting there for a long time, just this tractor. And that's not allowed, okay? And one of my things, because I live down there in Lizzie and 9th Street, I don't know why the Dollar General trucks, 53 footers, want to come down around my corner all the time, both ways. If they have a problem with the blind side backing in, they need to figure it out themselves. You got to drive your truck. So they don't need to come around town just to get lined up for the backing in over there. And so that's where the sheriff comes in to do that and take care of them. I tried to stop one of those trucks by my house the other day because 2 of them came by. And he wouldn't stop. So, okay. That's another thing that we want to get taken care of, because they're coming around through town here and we got people and kids and dogs, and we don't need them getting in trouble on that. Here's something that probably a lot of people don't know about. Our governor, Newsom, wants to make Keys a sanctuary city, if you know what I'm talking about. Well, he's trying to make the whole state a sanctuary for illegal people. And so do you want one living in Keys in your neighborhood, or do you want to give him your house and just walk out and let him have it all? I'm saying he just bought a $9 million house, take him to his house and see how that works, right? Okay, so be aware of that when you come to vote on these things. I don't want Keys to be a sanctuary city. I don't want the state to be a sanctuary. I've probably got a lot more to say about that, but maybe it's not appropriate.
You're not here.
Okay, well, I said what I said. Just be aware of it. Okay. I think I've covered some of the things. I think I've missed some of them, but hopefully somebody else has got some. Most of these things that I've said, I've been saying for 2 years, and hopefully we'll start getting something done about it. All right, thank you.
Thank you very much. Anybody else? Anybody else has anything?
Let me give you one comment
Sure.
about Chance. Right now, Chance is a little bit handicapped because he doesn't have the field. He doesn't. Chance, right? Chance,
Hi, my
right?
name is Bill. I lived in Keys since 1977. Never had a problem with these fires, but now lately, I've been choked out of my own home so bad with these fires that these people are building that I had to leave. And that's not right. It's just not right. I don't know why it's like that, but I never had a problem 4 years ago. I don't know if that might mean, but I called these, what do you call it, San Joaquin Valley Air Pollution Control Board. Oh, they want to have this, they want to have that. They're going to give me, a little pamphlet. But it gets so, it's bad. Now it's bad. To the point where if I can't stay in my home, why should I, I pay for my house. I work for it, pay for it, I can't even live in it because of the fires. I live in the southwest, right across the street here. Everybody's north of me, or everyone that lives south, even the school. Nobody seems to care that the children are getting polluted with all that stuff. The ash and the smoke is going this way. What can we do to alleviate the problems what I'm getting at? And it's bad. It's so bad I can't stand it. So there, that's my beef. So anyway, thank you for listening.
What was your name?
Pardon me?
What was your name?
It's Bill Hubis, Hubis.
Okay.
I live at 5570 7th Street, right down the street.
This is the fire department here tonight.
Yeah.
Sorry?
Yeah, the chief's
Just
over
like,
there.
Yeah.
stone's throw away from right here, just the corner right there's a vacant lot, one house and mine's the second one, a little block house with a tile roof. That's where I live.
Yeah.
But there's a 77, a long time, I wanted to retire to be happy, but it's getting kind of tough to do. But anyway, thank you, that's what I had to
I
say.
think that's coming from people
Okay.
burning stuff in the yard.
Stephen was,
What's that?
You think it's coming from people burning stuff in the yard or what?
Absolutely.
Okay.
okay, Roy, Stephen was going to.
Okay,
Yeah, go
as
ahead.
far as what's going on with Chance, Chance's field rep, left his service late last year. So Chance doesn't have a field rep right now, so it's basically him by himself. So admittedly, he's stretched a little thin. But as you can see, if you call him, he will make an appointment, you can come in and talk to them and voice your concerns and send pictures and all other documentation you've got. But once he gets a field rep up, hired and trained, things will be a lot better. You know, we'll see more representation down here and at other MACs in his area.
Yeah, he couldn't be here tonight because he has a meeting himself.
Yeah.
And that's why he wanted me to come and meet with him, and he's got all these concerns on paper that I gave him the other day, so he's working on some of the stuff for us.
And that's good.
Great,
Okay.
great.
All right.
Okay, anybody else? No?
Okay.
Okay, well, moving on, then we'll move on to the approval of the minutes of the special meeting of November 14th, 2024.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
I second.
A motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All right, okay, monthly reports. We're going to Stanislaus County Sheriff's Office,
Bring somebody.
and we don't see, so California Highway Patrol, Francisco?
Good evening, Francisco with the CHP here out of Modesto. I'll start off with the stats for the area here since the last meeting. It looks like we had 8 hit and runs in Keys.
That's it.
5 property damage collisions. Looks like there was no, non-injury collisions, there was none, or injury collisions, there was none, sorry. 4 arrests for DUI, 8 calls for reckless driving, 4 stolen vehicles taken from the area, so important there, make sure you lock up your cars, close doors, roll up the windows, do not leave the keys in the car, please. That's like one of the #1 reasons why cars are taken. And out of the 4 cars, there were 2 that were left abandoned within the area, the surrounding area, and those cars were taken from other unincorporated towns and then brought here. As far as the CHP is concerned, what you were talking about with the traffic and running the stop signs, so on and so forth. At the beginning of the year, we finally got, I don't know if you recall from past meetings when I said we were trying to get a unit started to patrol the unincorporated towns by themselves. So since then, we have actually put together that unit. It went live at the beginning of the year. There are a total of 4 officers, not including myself and another officer who are the community officers, that their sole purpose is traffic complaints, community outreach, that type of stuff, and it's for all of Stanislaus County. I know it doesn't sound like a lot of officers, however, for us to dedicate 4 officers to just the towns is a big deal. And we've been able to do that because we are actually, for the first time in a long time, positive when it comes to officers coming into the area and staying in the area. On the 15th, we did our first operation, which there was, I believe, 13 of us, and we split up all the East County and we're in and out of areas. I personally was in Keys here for a while, and then I went to Denair, and I came back, and I went up to Empire. So we were all throughout the East County enforcing the traffic complaints that come in. So it's very important that you continue to call because that's what we use to direct the officers to the locations. As far as, I believe, A couple meetings ago, there were some questions in regards to accidents and why vehicles are left on the roadways or in the yards. The officer wasn't able to answer that, so I was hoping to provide a little insight to that. When it comes to accidents in the unincorporated areas, we always try to give the owners of those vehicles the opportunity to have those vehicles towed. Now, we won't do it if it's on somebody's property and they don't want it there, then it has to be removed. But if the parties are both okay with the vehicles remaining there for a little while, then we will allow them to do that because it is expensive to have the vehicles towed. $200 to $300 for the tow, not to mention the days that they sit at the tow yard. So we would rather give the opportunity for somebody to arrange towing the vehicle themselves than to just take it and force it off the road. Questions?
Yeah, on that subject,
Yes, sir.
myself, I've got 2 vehicles, not of mine, of another party, not in the road, but off on the curb, and actually one of them is in the driveway. One of them's been there over 6 months, and the other one's been there coming on 6 months, like abandoned. So what's the process on that?
So private property, if the vehicle is on private property, we cannot do anything. We can't enforce any vehicle code violations there. That vehicle could stay there.
Okay, so,
If it's on public property and the vehicle is not moved, you are allowed 72 hours for a vehicle to be left in the same place. If somebody calls, we would come out, look at the vehicle, we would assess the situation, right? So if I come out myself and you tell me, hey, this car's been here for a week, it hasn't moved, we don't know who it belongs to, my procedure would be to come out, run the plate, try to figure out where it belongs. If it's a neighbor, I try to knock on the door. Once again, we give every opportunity for that vehicle to be moved. If it's not, then we tag it. It's called a form. It's called a 422. It's an orange, yellowish form. We'll tag it. By law, we have to give 72 hours for that vehicle to be moved. If it is not moved after those 72 hours, then we can tow the vehicle at the owner's expense. However, if I tag that car and the owner comes and moves that car back 1 foot, those 72 hours start all over again. Okay. Our hands are tied in regards to that. There's not much we can do. But if I come out and that car's sitting there and it's got cobwebs and weeds growing under it and I can tell that it has not moved, that car will be taken away.
okay.
Okay.
One more thing,
Mhm.
I think you mentioned that there was no non-injury accidents. I beg to differ because you're familiar with my corner?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Are you the one I talked to the other day?
No.
That wasn't you? All right. If you're familiar with my corner, go north on 9th Street it's about a half a block to the next cross street. We had an injury accident there, 3 weeks ago? Where a gal ran that stop sign and the people coming south on 9th Street had no stop, but she T-boned.
Okay.
Really bad. I mean, she was going real bad because she moved the passenger in that far. And that knocked that car into the fence and a big tree that saved her from going into that house. And both of those people in the car went to the hospital.
Okay.
So,
So-
you have to check your thing
Well-
on that. We had all you guys and everybody there for 3 hours.
So the way that we pull stats is a little wonky, right? So when I pull my statistics from the computer system, I pull up accidents and it's labeled based off of the type of accident is. So property damage with minor injury, property damage with major injury, fatality, that kind of stuff. Now that's all based off of what the officer sees, not only on scene but after the fact. So somebody could have gotten transported, and if the officer responded to the hospital and there was no injuries or complaint of pain, which is when somebody says, hey, I want to go because I don't feel good, we can get to the hospital and we talk to them and we talk to the doctor, and the doctor says he's going to be sore, he is hurt, but there's no injury like a broken bone, stuff like that, and that's the way it's labeled.
Okay.
So if in the officer's opinion, if it's a complaint of pain collision, it's considered a non-injury collision, because unless we're told otherwise by medical staff that, hey, this person is got a broken leg or something else, then we don't put an injury to it. If they leave because they say, hey, I want to go, my neck hurts, we put complaint of pain. Unfortunately, that type of coding, when I pull it up, shows as property damage collision only. Unless the officer specifically says there was an injury, it doesn't get coded like that.
Okay, well, all I know is that both of those in that car went to the hospital. Don't know we don't hear any more about it.
Right.
Maybe your department only goes before that accident and you're not getting that. Maybe you'll get it next month.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And it could happen, and like I said, it's officer based, right, how we code the accidents, so it's up to the officer that takes it, so if you coded it different, I might not see that, it might not come up in my reporting.
I just want to bring it up.
Yeah.
That's one of those stop sign deals.
Yep, like I said, I was out here yesterday because of that, so I remember your complaint.
Okay.
We come out here, like I said, we're trying, right, this new captain that came in, he's all for it, he's the one that pushed the button for us to establish this unit, and hopefully you'll see us out here a lot more. Today, I believe there was an officer out here for a while, driving around, trying to keep people's speed down, keep people from running stop signs. So I didn't get any statistics from him for today, but he was out here. That was Officer Rivera, I believe, is who was out here. So.
Got a question?
Yes, sir.
What was the stat on the hit and run?
Hit and runs, I believe it was 8 total that I.
And that was vehicle to vehicle, by vehicle pedestrian?
It could be all of the above.
Oh.
So anytime, whether it's a vehicle versus property or vehicle versus a person, it's considered a hit and run. The severity is changed, but yes.
But you don't separate the two?
No.
So we don't know if those were vehicle to pedestrian?
I can find that out for you if you'd like.
That would be awesome, yes, thank you, because it's just going on to what we've witnessed with the stop signs.
Yeah.
People just blowing right through them, not even slowing down anymore, not even slowing down. They're just blowing right through in a school zone.
Yep.
It's like, come on, people, it's only due time, especially right now, we got foggy weather, visibility is very low, and they're just blowing right through. It's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, somebody's gonna get killed.
And that's what,
And God forbid, we walk our dog on a daily basis,
Every morning,
every morning.
and 80% of the cars blow through the stop sign.
And she's called CHP, sheriff. Too bad, so sad. Pretty much is her response.
Or no response at all.
Yeah.
So when you call, are you calling dispatch or are you calling the office?
I called the office twice and left a message with my number and contact information. They never returned my call.
Okay.
I called dispatch and they responded.
So when you call the office, ask for Officer Gonzalez.
Okay.
Officer Gonzalez is our front desk officer. He's the one that takes all the complaints and puts them together and sends it out to the field.
Okay.
He would be the one that would put those together. As far as dispatch goes, they take the call and then they disseminate it, put it in the logs. The one thing that, I do have to stress is that I'm assuming most of these ran stop signs, it happens more during commute time. So in the morning when people are going to work, going to school, whatever that is, and when they're coming home at night. So the other thing too is, now that we have the 4 officers that are out here, we're hoping to alleviate that a little bit, because before them, because of the commute hours, when we were getting these calls from you, we also are at a point where most of our officers are taking care of major accidents on the freeway, so calls are stacked in priority, and a stop sign, although it's a big deal when somebody's running it, is at the bottom of priority when there's a car flipped over on the freeway and everybody's out of the cars. So it kind of gets thrown to the bottom. Hopefully now, with these other officers that are specifically assigned to go to these unincorporated communities, hopefully we can start hammering down a little bit better.
So basically, we're being reactive instead of being proactive.
Correct. So yeah,
That's not exciting. You guys need more help. You need to hire more people.
I agree.
And not to get political.
I agree,
Yes.
but we're, it's changing.
Yeah.
It's slowly changing, so, like I said, now, 2 years ago, to even think that we were gonna have a unit of 4 officers specifically for this was
Well,
not
Jesus
even-
growing.
Exactly. So-
It's developing.
and Captain Bañuelos, who's here now, he's very pro-community. He
Yeah.
grew up here, he's from here, so, he's trying to really focus on those concerns, so.
Real quick, when people expand their driveway, bullnose curbs, okay? They expand their driveway. Does that expansion of their driveway take over people allowed to park on the side of the road?
It's a tricky one.
Yes.
So.
For example, there's a house around the corner, they took out their whole front yard, and their whole front yard is just a driveway. At one time, when the yard was there, the bullnose curb, you could park it, no issues. But since they've taken out the whole yard, is that considered their whole driveway?
So did they take out the curb?
No, the curb, it's a bullnose curb, so the driveway and the curbs
Oh,
are the
it's
same.
it's flat- it's-
Yes,
okay.
it's all the same.
I mean, you're gonna get into semantics, right? He's gonna say that is my driveway.
But
And
that's,
then you're gonna say it's not.
I'm asking you though, that's the question.
So it's one of those, if I was to go there and there's a driveway there, right?
Yeah.
And I see the cars parked there and I hadn't seen the car driveway being expanded prior to that, I'm gonna tell you it's a driveway. But if I know for sure that I saw that and there was not a driveway, you just expanded it, then, there's an issue there.
But you can tell when somebody expands a driveway from where originally was placed.
It's just one of those situations where you get into a very gray area, right? Because technically it is a driveway now. Even though they expanded it, it is a driveway. So it's an area where you're gonna come across the person that's complaining and saying, hey, it's not. And then,
Okay,
oh,
I'm going to help you out with this. Was it permitted? If it wasn't permitted, then it's not permitted.
and that is a question for the city
Yeah.
or the county.
Or county.
Yeah, that's another thing.
You don't have to have a permit for flat work.
What's that?
You don't have to have a permit for flat work.
Okay.
Okay.
See, that's what I was gonna get at, was it something that would need a building permit or something
No.
from the county
I'm
development?
not building permit, but a permit. No?
No, not for flat work. It ain't structural.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff like that.
Okay, then never mind. I guess it's still gray as can be.
Yeah, there's-
Money is, money
It's-
water then.
It's one of those situations where, and it happens everywhere, I've gone to calls where a neighbor will throw cones out in front of the street and say, don't park there, and a guy puts signs up or puts railroad ties, and, because he doesn't want anybody parking in front of his house, and, you go back and forth, and you understand both points of it.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it's a very gray area. When they build the driveway, it's hard to not say that's not a driveway.
Got it. All right. I'm sorry to take the time.
You can reach out to planning department.
There you
I
go.
don't think it's legal, but reach out to planning department.
Okay.
You will get the answer. Now, talking about these 4 stolen cars, are those from same neighborhood or all over?
All over the place, yeah.
Okay. Look at these people going around and stealing these cars. Do we know, are they same going month after month, or they are all different?
It's different. You'll see trends for instance, here. Usually, the highest I've ever seen it in Keys was somewhere around 6. The lowest I've seen was none. So it just kind of goes up and down. I think a lot of it has to do with the changes in season, right? So in the summer, you have the windows down because it's hot. You leave the keys in the car. You forget the keys in the car, whatever. In the winter, you have the cars that get turned on so they can warm up. So there's just trends that happen all over the place.
But are they from Keys, these people stealing cars, or they're outsiders?
Well, the ones that, so the way that my statistics work, my stats work is, I can tell you that those cars were reported stolen out of the neighborhood. I can't tell you, unless we catch the people doing it in the act, I can't tell you if they're residents of Keys. So it's kind of a mixture of everything. A lot of the ones that get stolen and then dumped off, it's because they're stealing them to get around, or they're stealing them to commit a crime and then dumping them right away after they're done.
But in Keys, have you caught anyone in action stealing the car?
Generally, the way that we end up coming into contact is not in Keys. So if they steal it here, we'll end up catching them somewhere else. They don't tend to stay in the same towns that they steal the cars from. The people that are professionals that want to steal cars are stealing these cars and immediately making them disappear. They don't drive them around. The ones that are floating around is because somebody is using it for whatever means they wanted to use it for. Those are the people that are getting caught, not the professional chop shops, auto parts, that kind of stuff.
Thank you.
For your stats, do you have like the make and model of the 4 stolen cars?
I could get it for you if you wanted it, yeah. So I would have to break all that stuff down, but yeah, I can get it. A lot of them are Kias, Hondas,
Picture this, I was over at the
Toyotas.
post office today. Okay.
Is it still an option for people to go to the CHP office and get the lock?
Yes, the steering wheel locks. Yes, so that is an option that we have. The CHP does offer the free steering wheel locks. You can come by. Generally, the way that program works is supposed to be specific types of cars from certain years. However, if you go down there and you tell me, yeah, I want one, we're not going to really deny you. The only drawback to that program is that it's limited funding, so we get 2 to 3 boxes full of those locks, and once they're gone until they replenish that new fund for them.
Well, thank you, Officer Reyes.
No problem. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Okay, next up, Fire District, we have our Fire Chief Raj Singh here tonight.
It's for me and good evening, Raj Singh, Fire Chief for Keys Fire Protection District. I'll start off with just an update from last month. We had about 70 calls for service, nothing out of the ordinary. Normal medical aids, some minor crashes and so forth. We've seen an increase in some of these homeless fires along the highway back here, so we've been kind of working with Caltrans a little bit to see if they can kind of, they have a timeline of when they're going to be cleaning up different parts of the highway. I think ours down here is supposed to be about March, April. I'm trying to get that sped up a little bit before the grasses start drying out. I think that's the only thing that's really saving us from these fires getting a little too crazy is the grass is still green over here. So, but if you see that, feel free to give us a call. Our Operation Santa Claus we did last month also went well. We did reduce the sirens a little bit. Hopefully that helped. I know we didn't go crazy. Some people got mad at us because we weren't playing the sirens as much, but we tried to find a happy mix in the middle there. Currently, for us, everything's going well. We do have one of our engines did deploy down south to the fire, so we've been down there since the day that the fire started. We're still down there. Things go well. We should be coming home in the next day or two. The fire there after the one there in Pasadena, that one's actually getting under control pretty well, but pretty rough first, I think 40 hours they worked straight when they first got down there. And then the main thing for tonight that I have, there's a handout on the table there with the passage of our Measure H bond for the new fire station. One thing we did have listed in our bond measure was a citizen oversight committee for the spending and the budget side of it. So we are in the process of recruiting and trying to fill that spot. We're looking for 5 committee members. The main goal is going to be basically review and kind of oversight of the spending of the funds. So the funds for that Measure H are specific to building the new fire station. We can't use it for salaries for our firefighters. We can't buy new engines with it. It's specifically for the building, and then any services or fees if we hire like a consultant, something like that, to cover those kind of costs. So that committee would basically be doing that. Again, it's a voluntary position. Our consultant saying is estimating between 24 to 36 months to get the building done once we start construction. So that committee spot, basically a 1-year spot, can be extended by our board if they choose, if they see appropriate. Probably what they did, it would probably meet like quarterly, just look at all the spending and the budgets and stuff. And we kind of are looking for people that have a background in like finance or construction or firefighting, mainly finance and construction, kind of give some oversight and input on like, hey, this is appropriate spending of funds and things like that. So our applications are all online, keysfire.com. It's right on the homepage. Just click on it, fill out all the information, and there's, like I said, a handout that just kind of covers about what we're looking for, what the duties would be, and so forth. So, any questions?
I just want to make a comment to encourage people to look at serving on the committee, because it's not good for the community if the people who are on the Chiefs Committee or on the MAC are also on the Keys Community Service District. So this is the time to step up. If you want to do something for the community, step up. I didn't know anything about transit before I went on the transit board, and I've learned a whole lot of stuff, so step up and help your community out.
Absolutely.
Yeah, especially if you have construction. That will give you, yeah, there we go, that's what we're looking for. So, yeah, absolutely, so please, go on out, and we'd love to have you on board.
He's your guy.
All right, thank you.
I won't watch every single penny spent, I swear. Yeah.
As far as the comment with the fires and the encampments, I am also the unsheltered
I'm DJ.
person, officer in charge of all that for the whole county, so please, when you see it, today I drove through, I saw the big tree house back here with the lady and a big fire drying off her clothes. So anyways, call it in, please. Let me know where they're at. I could not see that from the freeway. I saw the fire. I could not see that tree house from the freeway. Call it in, let me know where they're at. I will come out here. We have been working with the sheriff and MPD to try to get some of this stuff under control. So I will come out here, I will cite, I will arrest. So just let me know where they're at.
Thank you very much. Okay, Stanislaus County Public Works.
Good evening, my name's Wes Esslinger, I'm with Stanislaus County Public Works. I did bring a sign. So, we have two of these made. We got a couple proposed locations that we'd like to put them. If anybody has any other suggestions, we would like to know. We're thinking over here on Golden State coming into town, and then as well up here on Road, kind of your main access points for coming into town. So what we are proposing, if anybody has any other suggestions, we'd love to hear it.
I think that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A couple other things. I did hear about the homeless problems. Our alleyways, we do have a crew that does go out and clean those up. So please contact our office, and we have a crew that's all they do. Actually, I just heard the other day they hauled out another 200,000 pounds of trash from last year.
Oh, wow.
On top of, I don't know the exact tonnage, but I did hear that was what was extra from the previous year. So.
That's from Keys.
Huh?
That's from Keys.
No, that is from all of Stanislaus County.
Okay.
Any alleyways. No. Yeah, so our one crew does cover all the counties, so, but they do have a pretty good response time. We don't have a whole lot of alleys in the different towns, so, some of these, I think Salida has a few, Keys, Empire, but, he's doing a great job of cleaning them up. So if you guys see it, let us know. We'll get right on it.
So you heard what my conversation was with Chance, so
Yeah.
all that, so that's cool. We'll try to get something done about that.
Yes.
You guys will be coming to do it.
Yep, yeah, and to be honest, you probably, if you call our office direct, then it goes directly into our government outreach system and probably get an even quicker response.
I think right there in that room here.
Yes. Other than that, I don't have much. If anybody has any questions.
Well, thanks for what you all been doing around here.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that sign, that's
Yeah,
great,
okay.
thank you.
Well, thank you guys.
All right.
Thank you.
Yeah, okay, Keys Library, welcome.
Hello everyone, my name is Alberto Salcedo. I work for the Stanislaus County Library, more specific here, our Keys Library. Just some updates. Right now we do have the Winter Reading Challenge going on. It is available for all ages, so if you love to read, participate. There is some bundles, some prizes you can get at the end of it. It does end February 14th. And then just looking ahead, we do have our yearly cover-to-cover program. This is a program we have to promote reading here in our different towns, in our different libraries. And starts in March. This program is for ages 4 to 12. They read 5 books or 300 minutes, and they get a certificate for a free In-N-Out hamburger. This is in partnership with them. And they could get a total of 3 for that. Usually starts in March. I don't have the specific dates right now. We're still waiting. But starts in March, ends the second week of April. And then in April, we do have our Dia de los Niños, Day of the Child, Day of the Book program. And it's, again, just a multicultural event to promote reading. And we give away some books. We have some crafts. Usually we just have like a weekly event where patrons can just come in, get a free book, get a craft, and then that's pretty much it. And I just wanted to touch on some services that we do provide there in the library besides books. We do have computers that you can use for 3 hours a day. We have printers that you can print black and white or in color. We have a scanner that you can use to make copies of documents, or if you need to scan them and send them to an email, that is a service available too, and that is free. Also, we do have fax services too. You can't receive a fax, but you can fax something over, and that program is free too. So just want to let you know about that. And then the other thing that unfortunately we don't have in our branch, but we have in Turlock and Salida, and that's passports. They have passports that you can make an appointment, and you can always stop in there and get more information, and even get the applications there for free as well. Any questions?
Can you renew the passports?
You can renew your passports, and actually for renewals, you don't have to make an appointment. You can just come in, because with the renewal, and this is just, again, basic passport knowledge. With the renewal, you're pretty much filling it out yourself. You don't need a passport agent for that, and so you fill it out and you mail it out yourself. But if you're not sure about the application or everything, you're welcome to stop in at, again, Turlock and Salida right now, and they can help you take a look at your form, make sure everything's fine, and then just have you on your way. Thank you.
Thank you. Is that all the Stanislaus County PAL? No? Board of Supervisor Condit, District 5? Assemblyman Juan Alanis. And we have Stanislaus County Chief Executive Office. Jennifer.
Good evening, Jennifer Hidalgo with Stanislaus County. So no real updates, but I did want to reiterate what Mr. Morrow and Mr. Winters mentioned. Supervisor Condit does not currently have a representative, but he is hiring. So if you know anybody, please feel free to refer them. The application is open at the moment. But he did say, he asked me to share his phone number for anybody who would like to contact him directly. You may do so to express any of your concerns. It's 209-622-7485. And again, just feel free to contact him directly if you would like. Also, if you would like to also put in any issues with Public Works or any other county entity, you can also use the STEM Connect app. Take a picture and it'll go to the department. And I can tell you they do monitor that and they do respond. So that is also another quick way to do it, either way. So, and then for the board, the Self-Help in partnership with East Turlock Sub-Basin Groundwater Sustainability Agency would like to present on the multi-benefit land repurposing program next meeting. So if you're interested, if that sounds like you would like a presentation on that for April.
Hopefully it's not as dry as the one we just had at the supervisors meeting.
It's a 10-minute presentation. I will let them know.
Yeah.
How to make it more fun.
Okay, thank
If
you.
there's no other questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
That was a tough one to sit through.
Long. It'll be 10 minutes.
Okay.
Stanislaus Regional Transit. Stephen Work.
Well, no specific update this time. We'll probably have more to report next time out, but for right now, not much going on, other than ride the bus, goes throughout the county, so it's a great way to get around.
All right. Okay, Stanislaus Behavioral Health and Recovery Services. He was here last at the special meeting. And now we have Keys Community Services District. A couple of reports. The first one is on our 123 TCP project. Because of administrative duties, I haven't had that too much of a chance to go and see what they have accomplished up to date. So I'm going to defer to Mike Jones and Kevin Schoen to bring you up to speed on that.
So right now they've completed most of the underground at the centralized site next to the PAL building. The pad for the filters and water line down the alley next to between the park and 5600 block at 10th Street. Transmission line from well 7. There's another section of line that we'll be doing on, I believe they'll be cutting the road on Jennings Monday to, that'll be a connecting basically from well 8, the transmission line comes from well 8. I'll be able to be diverted over there. At well 9, that's on Faith Home Road, across from the CO2 plant over there. They're just now working on the underground piping there. Had taken a little bit of time off from that. There's 2 buildings, block buildings that'll be at both sites to house the chemical and some of the electrical equipment. They got the forms for those pretty much up, and I think most of they're pretty close to ready to pour, but I think they're waiting on some parts that haven't come in, and I believe to finalize that. But they're approximately 80-something days. That's about 27% of the time. There's 300 working days, so it's 300 or 200 and whatever, 15 more working days they got. They'll probably put us at the end of the year. You'll probably start seeing soon a little bit more stuff happening above ground, the filters and all that coming in a few months, I would imagine. But that's about where the 123 TCP is.
Right.
And actually, just to one, at well 9, it actually got converted to treat arsenic there. All of the wells go to centralized on Jessup Road. And so all 4 of our wells go there, and we basically have 4 wells going in, but only 1 entry out into the system. So that one's getting converted because it no longer has an issue with 123 TCP. We're going to put media in there to treat the arsenic and go directly. It'll be wellhead treatment. It'll go directly into the system, so that we'll have 2 entry points in the system, making it more reliable. If either one of them was to go down, the other one should be able to pick up and take off where that's at. That's where that's at.
All right, thank you, Mike. Okay, and now for the bad news. As I mentioned at that special meeting of November 14th, received a letter from the city of Turlock stating that they had gone through a 218 and that they were going to raise the rates on significant industrial users, which we, the community at Keys and the mayor, is designated as such. And with that comes some heavy rates, pretty much doubling those rates. We discussed it at our board meeting for the district, and President Parker established an ad hoc committee that consisted of him, the Vice President Cody Nee, myself, and Mike, and Kevin, Michelle, our legal attorney, and then we also wanted two residents, and Stephen volunteered, and we asked Mr. Winters, but he declined. I don't know for whatever reason, but this is something very important that we needed to discuss to see what the best approach would be to get this done. We held 2 meetings, and we crunched some numbers with our city engineer, Mario Gabea. And after discussing this, I think we met Tuesday, 2 days ago. And the consensus of the group was for us to, for me, to contact Clayton Tuckfield, who we had done the water and wastewater rate study from 2012, and then he did one in 2021, I believe. I sent him an email. He responded immediately, called me back. I told him what was happening with the city of Turlock. And Mike Jones gave me a link to send to him so that he could look and see what the city of Turlock, what their rate study was all about. And he stated that he was going to have a proposal for us by next week so that I could present it to our board meeting of the 28th, which you are all welcome to attend. On the report that I'm pretty much preparing for the board meeting, I state that KCSD bills its residents and businesses, industrial customers for sewer service each month. In general, the district sewer fund should have sufficient revenues to support the operation and maintenance of its sewer system, support maintenance of its facilities, and provide a reserve fund with sufficient emergency monies to avoid placing a financial burden on the general fund. By completing a wastewater rate study in 2012 and increasing the sewer rates to what they are now, which are $64.23 a month, we had enough money to keep on going without having to consider raising rates in the near future. But unfortunately, City of Turlock pretty much doubled our wastewater discharge rates from $35,000 per month to about $70,000 per month, and perhaps more, depending on the BOD and suspended solids loadings. So by doubling that, our annual sewer fund is $420,000. So it's going up to $880,000, if not more. So we were informed by Turlock these new rates became effective January 1 of 2025. So this totally busted our annual sewer fund budget for this year. So we have no choice but to do another rate study to determine how much to raise the sewer rates. Okay? So knowing full well that a lot of people really don't know how the sewer system works and all that is involved in it, I asked our staff and utilities director, Mike Jones, to explain it all to us. And he will be using that screen over there to go through it. And we want you to know that we are videotaping this session so that we can put it on eCity Loop, on our website, and on YouTube, so that everybody will be aware of what's coming down the line. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Mike so he can explain to you how the sewer system works and everything that is involved. Mike?
Yeah, so a lot of people don't realize once you flush a toilet, your water goes down your sink, how does where does the water go? Where does the sewer go? So I just wanted to kind of give you an overview. There's a grid, obviously it runs along over in here, it's running along the alleys. Most of these, as Roy mentioned, the utilities are in the alley in the older part of town. Wherever there's alleys, there's utilities in there, water and sewer. So I wanted to kind of highlight this is Jenny Avenue, I believe, right here, and 9th and 10th Street. I just thought I'd kind of throw something out. If this person here flushes their toilet, it travels all the way down here, all the way down around to Hannah Street, back around, all the way down to Motzinger. There's a lift station here that pumps, and you can see a little highlighted, a little bit lighter green color. That means that's actually kind of going uphill. So it pumps uphill till a certain point, and then it goes back to gravity. Pointing out, as these lines are going this way, it might start out at 3 feet deep out here in the street or in the alley. As it goes all the way over here to Anna Street, it might be 8-10 feet deep. So you got to have these lift stations to pump the sewer back up, and until you can get it back to gravity. And this one here runs over, pumps over here, and there's kind of where my little guy is. This is the corner of 7th and Lizzie. There's another pump station here. Most of it you're just seeing the control cabinet and the lid. And I just threw another little quick picture up here, kind of what one would look like. So your sewer would be, when it gets into these pump stations, it's dropping in, halfway in this tank, and it's having to get pumped up higher than what it entered in at, and then it's going to go back, to gravity at some point. So we're just a collection system. That goes to that lift station there, and it's getting pumped down over here to across. This ends up going across the freeway, and over on Foot Road is our last pump station. Some of the new homes, they don't go through any of the pump stations at all, I mean the other two, until they get over here. And then all that gets pumped, all of this ends up getting pumped to Turlock. We have most of the line, so if you I just thought it'd be a good visual to see how long that line is. It goes all the way to Monte Vista Avenue, and it actually, we don't have it added on the map right now, but it turns on Monte Vista Avenue and goes all the way over to Tegner. And next to the Costco and the ball fields is where our final discharge is. That's where our responsibility ends and Turlock's takes over. So those pump stations, for this kind of explain, there's maintenance on the pipes, there's maintenance on the at the lift stations. There's obviously electrical, your power charges. Just trying to think of things that don't cost Turlock. I mean, before we get Turlock's bill from what they do. Basically, when it gets to their treatment plant, there's quite a lengthy process, and I got a little bit. Has anybody got any questions on that? Any of that?
How many lift stations?
There's 3.
Okay. Any new ones put in by Homes for the new development?
No, actually, all of that development, they initially thought they were going to have to do that, but whenever I have to make it a little bit bigger here, but whenever this, they call it crosstown sewer, when this got added in here for these homes,
Yeah.
next to the park, this pipe runs through here and comes over here, it goes down Maud, goes down 10th Street to Maud. And this little section here, there was a little stub. I'm not sure, I guess for potential future connection, but there was a little stub out at this manhole. And we were able to work with the developer, and all of this was able to, we run a new line, and they run it. There was an existing line that was, or part of an existing line. There's the developer bought this, and there's little slice, I wanna say 20-foot wide, piece of, property that belongs to the developer. It's in front of, if you know Kim Brown, or, on Maud Avenue there, there's a couple of homes right there. But basically, when the developer bought this property, that little part where the line goes, they own that. And so it was an easement, and they were able to run that line through there. This line here ran this direction. There was a little bit of change there, and we was able to tie that in and basically avoid having to have another lift station to maintain. So all these people here, all of this and this side here, both flow through there in this direction here. And they would have had to put a lift station, I think, approximately right in here if they, we wouldn't have been able to do that.
So what's the reason why Turlock's raising the rates?
Turlock's raising the rates because they reevaluated, they did a study, as it has to be done, before you could do that, it's law. But they basically did a study and they determined that, their residents were paying 60% of the, cost, their bill, 60% of that was going towards, they only entered this 40% of the flow, but they were paying 60% of the cost. Industrial users, which were unfortunately labeled under because we have a high flow we're giving them. Residents, they're just looking at that home, right? We're giving them 300 and some thousand gallons a day. And it's just going in there at whatever we need to discharge it to. Yeah. They did an evaluation and they said the industrial customers was only paying 40% of the cost, but they were responsible for 60% of the flow. And as Ernie stated, Denair and Keys are considered industrial dischargers.
So are those towns also going to have to?
Same deal, yes.
Denair is doing a 218 this month because they got to raise rates on their citizens.
Why don't you guys get together and take care of business?
We did. We visited them. Michelle, Mike, and I went and talked with the general manager over there. We wanted to see if we could get together and do something, but they had already. The general manager stated that he had gone to all the public hearings in Turlock, and that the council had already made up their mind. They weren't listening to anybody. They said, we're going to push this thing through. We need the money, and we got a lot of, they're doing a lot of extra building and stuff for their sewer system. Our employees have toured it. They do have new filters and all kinds of stuff. And so they felt that, well, in their letter they state that they haven't increased anything in 13 years, so they had to do something.
So they just doubled it?
Well, to us.
And to us? To us, we're gonna pay for it, right? Yes.
What they say our portion is, yeah, it's an increase.
Yeah. Double up, okay.
It looks like we don't have any options.
So, yeah, I don't think we have too much options, but so as they said, we're doing, we have, basically, it's recommended from our ad hoc that we are going to have to do, as he said, a rate study, have somebody independent come in and look at, what needs to be done. Now, when they double the cost of that, that's not a double everything that costs. Obviously, our costs, whatever we're doing, maintaining the system's not going out. I could say TID, I believe I heard that they were supposed to go up 9% or something on electrical costs. So obviously other things can factor in, so he'll take all that into, consideration, but the expenses for Turlock is 35% of our overall expenses. When they double it, it makes our cost go up. Our overall expenses, that's 50% of our cost. So there is a percentage increase that probably unavoidable. I mean, that's just the way, they've already set it in motion.
So again, Mike, going back to, it's not matter of choice, no options, we kind of realize.
I mean, short of building our own treatment plant somewhere, and I don't know, I mean.
That's where I was getting at, why don't all three communities get together and say, screw Sherlock, we're going to do our own thing?
I mean,
I understand the cost up front is gonna be high, I get it. Environmental studies, I get it. But eventually, we want Keys to grow.
Right.
I believe it is going to grow, right?
Yes.
It is growing new residential, I think we're going to get new businesses, so.
What's happening now?
Yes. I think the future is to do that.
so the ad hoc committee did bring that up.
Let's become an incorporated town.
It was brought up, the ad hoc committee did bring that up as something. My personal take, what I told them was, it could be very hard because the state is looking at regional, they call it regional benefit. In other words, they would rather everything filter through Turlock and put more of these things in. Same with, I don't know if you're aware, Turlock and Ceres are on surface water, not 100%, but they put a surface water plant in, and both of them get water from the Tuolumne River. A lot of water. Turlock has like 20 wells in there, and right now in the wintertime, because the usage is down, they're only operating like 3 of their groundwater wells. They gotta get so much water from there. But they wanted us, Denair, Houston, everybody was actually in on that at one time. And they started crunching numbers, and it was like, hey, just for the water, not sewer, just for the water. And this was back when he's talking about the previous rate studies, would be $100 a month just on the water. It was not feasible to us. So.
You can't bring in like the state to overall look at everything?
No, the state just screws things up even more.
Do they?
Yes.
I mean,
really?
I think they looked at it. I remember reading some old historical minutes and stuff from meetings years ago. I believe the town had looked at that. They actually ended up approaching Ceres first about taking the sewer there, pumping it there, and I'm not sure why it ended up at Turlock, but if we was pumping at Ceres, it'd ultimately end up there now because Ceres outgrowed their plant. They're going to have to expand, but they send quite a bit of wastewater to Turlock too.
So Mike, this is first time this community is designated as industrial user?
No, it's actually
It's
always been because you're putting a significant flow on them at one time. You know, hey, we want to connect to you, you're putting this much on there. Also, if you think about it, how do they regulate who's connecting to you?
Right.
We have an industrial user over there, but we could have other ones coming in wanting to connect. Hey, we're going to do some other type of processing over here and discharge in there. Well, if we're not permitted that way, then how are we going to permit the next guy? That's the way I think Turlock looked at it.
So basically, we're gonna be paying more because we're considered commercial.
Well, industrial. I ultimately, you're gonna pay more because no matter what, even if you're labeled significant industrial or you weren't, we have a meter.
They're going by the meter.
Flow meter, and we have, they take samples, and he mentioned the BOD and total suspended solids. They have rates for those, so whatever is calculated out with those 3 things in there, that's how your bill comes.
And they're
So
monitoring.
in reality, it isn't really gonna matter who, what you're labeled, in a sense, because they're going to measure all of those, and you're gonna get your bill based on that.
Okay, and they're the one that's monitoring.
We're tied together on the meter so we can see the flows. We know what those are.
You know.
And, but the BODs and stuff, they have a sampler at our foot road lift station. They pull 4 or 5 samples a month. They do an average to calculate what your loading is. And that's how they come up with the bill. For instance, BOD measures 500 milligrams per liter. There's a math formula that you do. You multiply that times how much your flow went down there, and they can tell how much that contributed to their load, what they got to get rid of. Ultimately, when it goes through that treatment plant, it comes out. They'll never say it's drinking water, but they'll tell you it's close to drinking water standards when it leaves the plant. Because if you don't know where it goes, it ultimately goes back into the surface water. It goes into a river somewhere. Canals, some of it, they're actually, I think it diverts and it goes into the canals. They sell some of the water to the farmers down south.
Well, then we want some of that money.
Yeah.
So basically, we're in deep,
We got some problems.
So domestic sewage and too bad we don't have a way to separate the domestic sewage to gray water, which new construction should be able to do this, which that would take away from the domestic sewage if we could just have a line to gray water. Because gray water, you pretty much can just put it into a retention pond, correct?
I don't know. I know there is some type of ponds for some of these little communities. I'm not sure. So we basically keep it moving there.
Okay.
When it gets there, I'm not really too much of an expert on it.
I think if you were to separate that, like you say, gray water, and have
Yeah.
to pond somewhere like that, that would require a treatment center in itself, because
But it's less of a process though.
maybe so.
Yeah, less filtration.
Right, but it's still a facility.
Okay.
On this.
I mean,
Okay, Mike has additional information.
So I just wanted to kind of give, you've seen it there with the green lines on that, but basically, a business or a home, the lines going out to the main, ends up in the sewer main, and ultimately ends up in the wastewater treatment plant. I just wanted to kind of give you a little information about our system. Our collection system, the pipes are 4-inch to 18-inch. There's only a little small section of 4-inch. Most of them are 6 to 18 inch in size, and over 97,000 feet of pipe, and that's approximately 18.38 miles. All that pipe adds up to 3 lift stations that pump the wastewater throughout the system, and ultimately ends up at the City of Turlock wastewater treatment plant. What I didn't mention, the Foot Roads lift station, there is a chemical treatment that's added there to control hydrogen sulfide odors. Hydrogen sulfide is a bad byproduct of long detention times in the sewer, and a lot of Turlocks and some of ours in the past, either concrete got ate up by that stuff. It turns concrete into mush.
Stuck in acid.
Yeah, it is. And so, yeah, as right about 2019, I think, City of Turlock had a cave-in on Tuolumne Road, their concrete pipe. We were probably a contributor to that. That's why the chemical treatment one of the reasons it had to go in. Plus, when it got diverted over by the ballpark, the odor was pretty darn strong. There was complaints immediately, like within a day. It was already coming back to us. So the raw wastewater received at the Regional Water Quality Control Facility is a combination of domestic and industrial wastewater flows, and the wastewater facility currently receives an average flow of 8.5 million gallons per day. I took this off their website. I wouldn't doubt that hasn't been updated in a little while. It's probably closer to 10 million gallons a day at least. Nearly half the flows come from food processing and dairy industries. The incoming wastewater is high-strength waste with biochemical oxygen demand design concentrations averaging 544 milligrams per liter and total suspended solid concentrations of approximately 501 milligrams per liter. The industrial wastewater loading at that facility accounts for approximately 70% of the organic loading and 30% of the hydraulic loading. Again, it's a tertiary treatment facility designed to treat up to 20 million gallons per day. It currently treats the average of 8.5 million. The treatment process is comprised of the following unit process. There's screening, primary treatment, that's a flotation, secondary treatment, that's activated sludge. Includes biotowers, aeration, and nitrification. The waste solids are removed by a gravity fill thickener and anaerobic digestion. Secondary clarification, high rate clarifier, thickener, cloth disc filters, and chlorine disinfection, and sodium biosulfate dechlorination. There's a lot to that facility there. The treatment facilities staffed 24 hours a day on a year-round basis by 11 certified operators. 9 mechanical and electrical staff perform required maintenance on the facility's equipment. That's so just to kind of show you, there are like at least 20 people there that's working on that, not counting any of the management or anybody that's over that. And then obviously, on our part, it's R5 in the collection side, which handles the water and the wastewater. And that was a link, I already had brought it up, as just a link, little picture of that bill. But anyway, I just wanted to kind of give you a little bit of an idea of where the sewer goes and how it runs through the system.
Where was the location of the H2S?
The treatment or the when it at the entry point in, or basically the turnover to city of Turlock.
That's where the H2S was.
Where it was high. So if you've seen where, it runs down the railroad tracks.
Okay.
Okay, and it ran all the way to Tuolumne Road.
Where the KFC.
Okay.
So right now it turns on Monte Vista. It used to, our line, we severed that line from between Monte Vista and Tuolumne Road. That's abandoned in place line. But that section, it basically got turned, goes down all the way around over by Costco and the Pedretti Park. And that's where the H2S owners is.
So it's an abandoned line, which...
Well, not that one. That one's an active line.
Okay.
But no matter where either at the Tuolumne Road that got severed, or at this point, it basically, once it went to gravity, that's where whenever it pumps,
usually H2S will gather up in a location where there's no flow, no air circulation. It's like an abandoned line would be a perfect place for H2S to build up.
One thing I might not mention though is from Foot Road to Tegner over there, it takes 7 hours for whatever goes through Foot Road to get to the discharge point, to get to gravity.
Wow.
So the pumps are coming on and off, so it's basically the pumps run about half the time. So 12 hours a day they're running, and 12 hours, they're not.
How old are the pumps?
Oh, they're fairly new, about 5 years, maybe 4 years old. But when I say they run 12 hours on and 12 hours off, it's on and off throughout the day.
Right.
But it is steady, and it takes that long for it to get to that point. And so there is a couple of relief valves to let some of the air out, but not enough to keep it from doing that. And ultimately, if there wasn't the H2S odors, that would just eliminate the chemical. It wouldn't, and that's just on our part that we pay for. That's not anything that they're with their rates or anything like that.
No,
That's just to keep the odors down and keep it from eating up any concrete manholes and stuff like that.
Or killing people.
Yes, absolutely.
Or killing you guys, anyways. I'm sorry.
Very poisonous.
I work in the Bay Area, I gotta wait till 3 o'clock in the morning, so thank you for your time.
Yes, you bet.
I'll be back. I enjoyed that.
Yes, Director?
So what I heard, there is ad hoc committee, and I think you guys have all of the members, the parents, and I trust you guys because, you live there, you don't want your bill to go up, you don't want my bill to go up.
Right.
I know, I trust you, I respect you, I know. You are going to do your best, and let's see where the chips will fall. But rates are going to go up. If that's what is going to happen, do we know when these rates will go up?
Not until we get that rate. First off, I gotta bring the proposal for the rate study to the board for approval. Once they approve it and we get going on it, once he gets it done, we do a Prop 218, which means that we gotta send ballots out to everybody so that they can vote on it. We gotta give them 45 days to do that. And then we set the date for the public hearing. We will get together, count the ballots, and if we find that there's more ballots protesting it, then we can't raise the rates. But if there isn't enough protests on it, then we move forward, and then the board establishes the rates at whatever date they set.
I remember 2012. You remember that one? And we were together that time. So yeah, well, let's see how it goes.
Yeah, well,
that's you guys.
Yeah, that's what they did, and like my friend Stephen here says, it's their toy, and if you have to play with it, you have to pay what they want.
They make
I have a question on that, the influx that we're delivering to Turlock. You were saying that Turlock's got, what, 40% of the responsibility, or we have 60% of the flow going in, but we're only paying 40%?
Whoever was designated industrial customers, commercial, industrial, they basically, when they did their study, they found that they were responsible for approximately 60% of the flows, but they were only paying 40% of the bill.
That meaning us as a community this way, right?
Everybody, yeah. We're considered with industrial customers on there, yes. We're from, Turlock's homes are not being considered that, but we are.
Right, well, I'm trying to understand this doubling of the fee that overall is because okay, so for instance, we got 60% input, but we're only paying 40%. Why is it doubling instead of 20%?
Again, like I said, we're industrial, even though we're industrial, ultimately what we're going to do is we're going to pay for the flow. So they are raising the rates as far as how much so we send approximately 350,000 gallons a day down there. That flow is measured.
Yeah.
They're going to raise whatever, if it's, say, just throw out easy, just $1 a thousand gallons. They change it to $2 a thousand gallons, whatever it is, something like that. And then the BODs and suspended solids, they got new charges on those. So no matter what we're classified, ultimately it's the measurement of the flow and those the loading that they call it.
So that was what we was getting at. We're getting charged by the flow and not industrial or residential.
But ultimately, they have a website. It's if you want to Google it, and Civic Mike, if you put Civic Mike Turlock in there, and Mike M-I-C, you could go in there and see where they did their rate study. They got links to that, and they got like some type of calculator in there where you can put in if you're a residential customer, you're industrial, institutional, schools are on a different rate. So you can put that in there, and then you can put different amounts in there. Obviously, you need to know what our deal is. Roughly monthly, that 350,000 is between 10 and 11 million gallons a month we're sending down there. And then the pound loading is, I believe, about 40,000 pounds of BOD and suspended solids roughly. So you put those numbers in there and it'll spit it out. So if you can control those flows, you can reduce your bill.
So it don't flush so much.
Yeah.
That's the thing. The thing we have to remember is it's going to be ugly, but a lot of specific questions. You know, we did this tonight for general information. Anything more specific would need to be addressed at the Keys Community Service District Board meeting. Next one is on the 28th at 6 p.m. in this same room. The President of the Board is with us this evening, but they say if you really need more specific questions or comments, that's the meeting to attend because they're the people that actually have to administer and make the decision.
Yes.
And they talk about being on the hot seat.
No, this was mostly to apprise and get everybody prepared, saying there's no way out of it. We're gonna be facing increases.
Okay.
Okay, well, with that, we'll move on. 6 information items. We got any information items? No? Okay, action items. Election of MAC officers for 2025 calendar year. So, we will, who we start with the chair? Okay.
I nominate Arnie, and the reason I'm nominating Arnie is because one, he's in town all the time, he's always available, and doing a good job. I'm proud of him, so that's my nomination.
Okay, I'll second it.
First and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Vice chair. Nominations for vice chair.
For that, I nominate Steven, because he's also always available, and I guess that's the key.
Yeah.
He should be available, so that's my nomination.
I second.
Yeah. First and second, all in favor? Aye. All right. Okay, secretary.
No, you. You've been on it longer, I nominate you.
So I'm getting towards retirement, so I nominate Joseph.
Why, I refuse.
That we can table, Jeff will be
Yeah,
here
we'll
next
table.
time.
You want to table that
We'll
one?
throw it on,
Or we'll
the
throw
one
it
that
on
never
Jeff?
comes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Jeff with it? Okay, all
We
right.
did nominate Jeff last time, and he didn't show up, I remember that.
All right, all right.
Work on that.
Yeah, okay, then we'll move on. Correspondence? Any? I don't have any. Okay, board council comments and suggestions for future agendas. Anybody got any topic that we need to?
No, not at this point, pending what happens with the sewer thing.
Yeah, good point, good point. Okay, well, having done there, now entertain a motion for adjournment.
Moved.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.